Hello, ladies and gentlemen. This is Bobby. Welcome to SoulsBorne Battle to the Death. Before I go any farther, I just want to make a special announcement. We are closing in very quickly on episode 100 of SoulsBorne Battle to the Death, and I'm here to tell you that that very special episode, win, lose, or draw, will be a SoulsBorne Battle Royal. I will pick many different participants in this Battle Royal. I will not do bios because it's just too many bios. And then I will pick a winner from those many participants that I have chosen. So that is the format that we are going with for episode 100 of SoulsBorne Battle to Death. It'll be a special time. Very fun time. So, yeah. I'm looking forward to it. Should be a lot of fun. So that'll be very cool. But this is episode 97, I believe. I hope I have that right. Of SoulsBorne Battle to the Death. We're going to pick 2 random SoulsBorne bosses. And then, oh my god. I just keep... the announcement at the beginning is throwing me off. And I'm just forgetting all these activities that I'm picking for everybody. Every week. I'm obviously recording all these at the same time. And now I'm just losing it anyway. Oh yeah. They are going to participate in a car crushing contest a la monster trucks. And then whoever crushes the most cars will be the winner. Whoever puts on the best performance will be the winner. Monster truck, performances are very much like professional wrestling, I guess, in that regard. It's very much about performance than it is about actual sport. So that's what we're going with here. All right. The battlefield has been cleared. It can house any and all SoulsBorne bosses, and it has housed all of them at least once in a SoulsBorne Battle Royal that we did a few months ago. It was a different format than the Battle Royal that will be coming up on episode 100. So this will be a new format. It'll be a different kind of fun. Anyways, there are special spots in this little wheel that I've created that can create some interesting scenarios. So I am going to stop this wheel, and we are going to choose participant number 1 on this episode 97 of SoulsBorne Battle to the Death. Godric the Grafted. Godric the Grafted. Godric. He tried so hard. Then he got so far. In the end, it didn't even matter. The boss that groveled before Millennia, and really, who wouldn't grovel before Millennia? There's a lot of limbs for Millennia to chop off. So if I were him, I would have groveled too, but it is what it is. Godric has his own challenge, though. He's got his own level of difficulty. Certainly not a boss to sneeze at, really. He can definitely be a pain in the ass. So he's not a joke boss by any means. So it's always an interesting choice for SoulsBorne Battle to the Death. So I'm not disappointed by that choice. Nothing wrong with that. We're going to take this wheel for another spin. We are going to decide the opponent for Godric the Grafted. Godric the Grafted could crush a lot of cars, though. So he's a good participant for that kind of competition, for sure. Yeah, you can find a lot of ways to do it, too. So there's nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that at all. All right. Godric the Grafted on one end of the battlefield. On the other end of the battlefield, we have the Moon Presence from Bloodborne. One of the final bosses. So, again, not a boss to sneeze at, for sure. So, yeah, I don't hate that pick either. That is, well, Godric kind of prevents it from being a main event fight, but this is definitely an attraction for sure. Definitely an attraction fight. So that's okay. I got no problem with that. All right, we are going to go to the contractually obligated bios. So let's have a look at Godric the Grafted. Once upon a time in the land of Elden Ring, a man was born the descendant of the Golden Lineage, which was a lineage started by Marika the Eternal and Godfrey the First Elden Lord. Unfortunately, the bloodline of this descendant was so diluted that it really didn't matter that much, and he was considered the runt of the litter. This runt was Godric the Grafted. After the Elden Ring was shattered, Godric inherited the part of the ring which is actually the center part of the ring, called the Anchor Ring, which is a fact I did not know. During the shattering, Godric was hounded from Laedel, the royal capital, and he claimed a multitude of treasures, including the Mimic's Veil, and then he hid amongst the womenfolk, which makes sense to me, I guess. With nowhere to go, Godric fled south to Limgrave, where he settled in Stormveil Castle, and he started using it as his base to set up a practice called grafting, which is using the living parts of people to basically attach them to himself. How this works, I don't know, but it works. And when the Tarnished began reappearing in the world of Elden Ring, Godric started setting up Tarnished hunts so he could use their body parts to attach to him. Godric also produced the Grafted Scions, who are some of the most annoying creatures in the entire game. And they appear to be body parts grafted onto children, which is just a little on the horrifying side. When Malenia marched southward in her quest to become the Elden Lord, Godric insulted her. Doesn't seem like a very good idea. And then they had a confrontation, at which point Godric ended up basically on his knees groveling before Malenia. Which, like, seriously, can you believe that? Like, this guy insulted Malenia. Like, did he really think he stood a chance? Like, people have been fricasseed for less. Stupid Godric. Godric idolized his great ancestor Godfrey, the first Elden Lord, and he desired his descendant to witness all of his feats, such as they are. And he wields an axe emblazoned with the likeness of a lion, which is Godfrey's symbol. And he also furnished his army with emblems of the Golden Lineage. He styled himself the Lord of all that is golden. He says this when you face him, but people still just call him Godric the Grafted because they don't respect him that much. So that pretty much tells you all you need to know about Godric and his army and how much they respected him. It really wasn't that much. All joking aside, Godric is not a boss to be taken lightly, and I can't sit here and claim too much that the grafting really helps him out a lot. I really don't know how it does, but he does have a lot of attacks at his disposal. He does wield two very large axes, and he has a pretty wide variety of attacks, and he can hit you from a pretty good distance. So Godric is a formidable competitor, and when you come across him in Elden Ring, he's one of the first really first early game really difficult bosses in the main story that you have to face. So I know I took quite a few tries in order to deal with him, and I know I wasn't the only one either. So and no joke, that second phase where he grafts the lion's head to his arm, is pretty badass. I'm not gonna lie to you. That's pretty freaking cool. So, in that second phase, he becomes even more formidable, and it's a much bigger pain in the ass. Yeah, I think that's pretty much all you can say about Godric. Like he's you can't take him lightly, and despite his size and his bulk or whatever, he can attack pretty quickly and he can put you away pretty quickly. So, Godric the Grafted may be treated like a joke in the Elden world, but when you face him one-on-one, you may well be in for a long night. So you may want to keep the insulting of him to yourself until it's over. That's pretty much all I got to say about that. The Moon Presence is one of the great ones in Bloodborne, and it controls and manipulates everything inside and around and about the Hunter's Dream, which is where the game of Bloodborne takes place. The Moon Presence's origin is largely unknown, but its first known appearance was through Lawrence, the hunter, I guess, who summoned it for unknown reasons. How Lawrence knew how to do this is also unknown. Perhaps he just decided, if I eat these 1/3 of umbilical cords, something will happen somehow. I have no idea. Before you encounter the Moon Presence in the dream, it had bound Gehrman, the first hunter, to the dream, the Hunter's Dream, which was a tactic seemingly used to fuel its own desire to get rid of the other Great Ones. Whether or not this has to deal with halting the Scourge of the Beast or the slaughter of the Great Ones is unknown. But the Moon Presence does seem to have its own agenda of getting rid of the other Great Ones, as evidenced by certain notes you find in the game. So I suppose it's kind of interesting that the Moon Presence wants to be the only Great One. Especially since the Great Ones seem to have no malevolent intentions. It just seems kind of odd to me that the Moon Presence does have that particular malevolent intention. But it is what it is, I guess. I guess it just wants to be the one, I suppose. And that's really it in terms of lore when it comes to the Moon Presence. In terms of appearance, in the fandom wiki, it is described as an eldritch being composed of human flesh and bone with the exception of its head. It is covered in dozens of tentacles, mainly in its head, where they resemble hair and tail. Its body is mainly a large human spine and ribs. Moon Presence doesn't have a face. Instead, it only has a hole in its head. So, yeah, basically, in terms of boss design, it's the same type of boss design that Miyazaki uses. Basically a randomizer in his brain that, just comes up with all kinds of different shit, and then basically what he comes up with, he just draws, creates, whatever he does to just create these amazing boss designs that he somehow comes up with. The Moon Presence is an intimidating presence, to be sure, when you first see it. In terms of being a difficult boss, it is certainly not one of the most difficult bosses in Bloodborne, but it will certainly give you some issues. When you first start the fight, it'll attack you with 3-hit combos that cover a very large distance, so its reach is pretty incredible. So you can't really... outrunning it is very difficult. When it reaches half health, it'll start to cast white orbs that explode into blood. It'll cast or apply a debuff that will... It's similar to Numbing Mist, so that can make things very difficult. And perhaps most terrifying of all is that it can unleash an AoE shockwave that can reduce your health down to 1. You cannot avoid this attack. However, when the Moon Presence does this attack, it needs 5 or 6 seconds to recover, which obviously gives you time to recover as well. But, it can be a problem, especially if you don't have any blood vials or things like that, you could be up shit's creek without a paddle. So that's a thing as well. Like I said, the Moon Presence is not one of the most difficult bosses in Bloodborne, but it is the final boss, so it still can cause you some problems. And certainly not a boss that you want showing up on a blind date either. I think that goes without saying. And if it does, just pretend you don't know what's going on and, walk right past it and go to your car and leave and go home. And go back to Tinder and try again. I guess that's really all there is to say about that. But as a boss in Bloodborne, it's certainly formidable. And when it comes up in SoulsBorne Battle to the Death, it can certainly create some interesting scenarios. So there's nothing wrong with that. And I don't mind seeing the Moon Presence pop up in Battle to the Death. This is yet another very difficult fight to decide. And some of you may laugh at that, but if you bring Godric the Grafted up to the Moon Presence's level, I think this is a closer fight than you may realize. Godric is tough, and Godric has some attacks that hit really hard and really fast. And especially in that second phase, he has the dragon arm thing. He can do a lot of damage. So yeah, I think this is a closer fight than some people may realize. Even right now, I'm still struggling to decide who would actually win this fight. But I think in the end, I may have to go with the Moon Presence. I think the Moon Presence still pulls it out. I'm really not a fan of the Moon Presence as a boss, but it is very aggressive. It does hit pretty hard. It is one of the final bosses of Bloodborne. So, yeah, I think even pulling Godric up to the Moon Presence level, I think the Moon Presence still has the advantage, and I still think the Moon Presence pulls out the victory. I think its aggression is probably the deciding factor in this fight. So yeah, Moon Presence over Godric the Grafted. But that is just my opinion. Feel free to leave yours in the comments. And with that, yet another edition of SoulsBorne Battle to the Death draws to a close. RobertBlanchardBooks.com. If you're interested in the award-winning Roar of a Dragon series, you can read the first 3 chapters of each book there for free. If you'd like to hear more about them, the Rise of Dragons podcast, wherever you find your favorite podcasts. My Linktree, my Instagram, my Twitter, all Bobby's World 2110. Mondays, 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time is the Dark Souls Remastered No Estus run. And we have finally hit it, ladies and gentlemen. I am in the thick of Ornstein and Smaug. It is now the... Oh, you know what? That's incorrect, isn't it? That is incorrect. Next week is Ornstein and Smaug. I humbly apologize. Next week is the Win or Bust episode of Ornstein and Smaug. That basically means that I fight. I don't end the episode until I beat them. And right now I'm in the midst of recording that episode, and it's been going on for a long time. So we'll see how that goes. This past Monday, I had some major audio issues. So there's no real episode of the Dark Souls Remastered No Estus run, but there is an episode apologizing for the technical issues and showing some of the footage that I did get from recording that episode and basically telling you what I did. So it's just basically leading up to Ornstein and Smaug. So that's what that is right there. Back in the archives, I have the Elden Ring No Crimson Flask run, Volume 1 Limgrave. I have the Sekiro No Healing Gourd run. I have the Dark Souls 3 No Estus run, and the Dark Souls 3 No Level Up run. So all those are back in the archives if you are interested. The Your Father's Story videos are there. There are 7 of those to check out. Basically me answering questions from a book for my boys, but also for anyone that's interested in learning a little bit more about me and life and things of that nature. The Bobby's World Hunger Games, there's 28 of those to check out. Basically me and my friends and Rachel and her friend, me and my family and Rachel's family and some of our friends in a Hunger Games simulator, doing Hunger Games things. So hilarity often ensues, so check that out if you are interested. Wednesdays, 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time is what you're watching right now, SoulsBorne Battle to the Death, so I don't really have to explain too much about what that's all about. And Wednesdays, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time is the Bobby's Gaming Lounge, the weekly live stream that I do. And I think, as you're watching this episode, tonight's live stream is going to be Back for Blood. I'm going to be doing some campaign stuff, shooting some zombies, running all over the place. So come hang out with me and chat, and, we'll have some fun with that. Good times to be had there. I'm sure that's going to be just a rip-roaring episode of getting murdered by zombies. I think I might even do it on not the normal level, but the hard level, whatever the hard level is above that. I think I might try to do that. I think we'll do that and see what happens. So, yeah. So, fun times, as always, on the channel. Thank you so much for the love and support. I've talked a lot about that recently. I think last time I was talking about the number of subscribers in the past 28 days, like 68 subscribers in the last 28 days. Well, actually, it's over 100 in the last 28 days, and that is completely absurd. And you guys are just crazy people, and I have so much to thank you for. I really, really appreciate it. I think we're up to 5,040 something subscribers, so I think that's as high as it has ever been on the channel. So that is awesome. The watch times are good, the subscriptions are good, all that stuff. So that's awesome, and I'm very, very happy about that. So I think that's pretty much all I got. I talked about things getting busier, life getting busier. Actually, as I'm recording this right now, I had an MIT interview today for the store that I work at, and it went very, very well. So I'm going to be interviewing with the regional manager, and we're going to see where that goes. So life's going to get busy, but don't worry, I don't expect things to slow down on the channel. Kate's been very supportive of that and letting me get my recording in whenever I get the chance to. So I think all the content is still going to be coming your way on the channel, and I'm very much looking forward to bringing you some new things in the near future. So yeah, without your guys' support, I don't know what I'd be doing right now. It just means a lot to me. So I'm going to keep pushing out content, and hopefully you guys will keep following along and coming along for the ride. So I appreciate that very, very much. So I hope everyone has an amazing week. Be well, stay safe, and as always, it's Bobby's World, and you're all just living in it. See you live, y'all. Bye.
Hey, boss.
Yes, Courtney.
Mrs. Anderson called. She wanted to order several copies of your books for family and friends.
Oh, that's amazing. Get some ordered, have them sent over to me, and I will sign them for her. I really appreciate it if you could do that for me.
I didn't know you were an author.
You did. Courtney, you've been with me for like 2 years now, and we've talked about it fairly constantly, and there's an ad at the end of every one of these videos.
Well, that doesn't mean that I listen to everything you tell me. Are the books any good?
Well, ReadersFavorite.com said that its intensity rivals that of the Game of Thrones series. I know, that's pretty crazy, but that's exactly what it says. It's on the Cry of a Raven review. Go check it out.
Well, that's pretty cool. What are the books about?
It's about a soldier who gets exiled for saving a baby dragon, and later he's killed, and he wakes up 3,000 years later with strange powers, and he's watched over by the very same dragon, and the world has been overrun by evil, and he now must travel back in time to stop the evil that started in his own home country.
Wow, that sounds interesting. How can I get copies of the books?
Well, you can go to robertblanchardbooks.com and order your copies there. You can read the first 3 chapters of each book there for free. And if you want to hear more about them, you can listen to the Rise of Dragons podcast.
You have a podcast too?
You know what, Courtney? You are doing such an amazing job that I think you are due for a raise. How does that sound?
Oh my gosh, that's so awesome. Thank you, boss.
You bet. Too bad the raise is going to be when I raise a water balloon over her head and just... Maybe I'll wait until her mom calls. I think she'll find that pretty funny. Go to robertblanchardbooks.com right now and get your copies of the series that got 3 5-star reviews from readersfavorite.com, 3 Author Shout Recommended Reads Awards, and 2 Literary Titan Silver Awards. You can read the first 3 chapters of each book there for free, read more reviews, short stories, and much more. And if you want to hear more about them, you can listen to the Rise of Dragons podcast wherever you find your favorite podcasts.